guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be going through something that we all go through as producers. So what happens when you are making a beat but it's not really bad, it's not horrible, but it's not great and you're not really feeling it, which happens a lot to me, and I usually end up discarding those projects. But I'm going to show you something I did on this one. So I was making this beat on live TikTok live. I go live on TikTok, by the way, so if you want to see me making these live, you can follow me there. So I was making this beat and I wasn't really feeling. I was like, I'm not really feeling this. Let me just disregard this idea. And then a mutual of mine, Vestless, who's another great producer, said, "Yo, why don't you just render this out and make sample it and make something different?" And that's what I did. And I'm gonna show you guys that process. So this is what I had um on the live. So that is basically it. It's a nice little near soul beats, but it's not amazing, it's not great. So how do we go from there to great? And if you've watched my last video, you would know that these drums are from the last video. So these are the initial drums I had, and then I recycled them from the last video, and I recycled the melody for this beat. So G minor 9, D minor 9, and C minor 11, G sus 13, G 13 sus 4, and the D minor 11, and then A minor 11. It's a pretty simple chord progression. And then what made it sound cool was the textures and sound effects I put around it. We're not going to go through the bass line on this part of the video. We're going to go through it on the next part because I did do some changes. And that is a sample. And if you want this sample, you can join the channel membership. This sample is available for channel memberships and other samples. I have a bunch of samples on there. And if you would like this project file, you can join on tier 3 and you get the projects files as well as the samples. This was a sample, so what I did was I pitched down the sample. Yeah, three semitones, so it goes from D minor to B. So now it's in B minor. Oh, I sped it up as well. So there's a reason why I rendered out the sample with the bassline in. It adds a lot more texture when you use the stem separation. So I use the stem separation on high speed, which is low quality. I think that adds more texture than just splitting it at high quality, and it takes a lot less time. And I combined vocals, drums, and others. There's no vocals, but there are some high frequencies that can be interpreted as vocals, so you have to put that in there as well. So now this is how the sample sounds with the separation. This is our bass line. It's the same bass line as we had before, but we just pitched it down 3 semitones. So the you remember the chord progression was G minor. But I want to show you guys something you can do on Ableton, which is have your projects folder here, and then you get that project was sample 11, and then you can go to sample 11 as the project. So I have all the files I had on that project over here, so I can just take a track, which is what I did, just take a track from that project and then put it on this project, and then it's gonna, so you basically gonna have that project track over here. I took that project track, pushed it down three to match the new key you are in. So this is the bass line now. Okay. Okay, so what I have in terms of automation, I have pitch bend. I think you could hear it there. And I also have sustain pedal. So sustain pedal just controls uh the slides. So if sustain pedal is on, the slide is on. Rick and Bigger Bass has auto slide, but sometimes it doesn't recognize it as well. So I just do this to make sure that the slides are recognized. And then let's see if I did it. Oh yeah, modulation mode controls the vibrato. So if you have this, you have your vibrato. And that's basically it for the bass line. And what I did as well was I added new keys. So I added a UV workstation, which is basically just as you can hear. So it's just this with the glide on. Also, what I'm controlling is the pitch bend to give it more movement. And then I layered that with some keys. So what I did was I chopped up the sample. So if you listen to this part, so this is the sample chopped up. It's different type of sample chops. So I took those sample chops into operator. And then on operator, what basically have is just noise, like white noise, and let me see if I can make you hear it. It basically follows the sample chops. So, and then I use that white noise to put a gate on the two melodies I had, the sine wave and the piano. So then the piano is chopped according to the MIDI that matches the chops of the sample. So, and also what I did on operator, I put two pitch MIDI effects, and the one was negative 128, and then the other one is plus 60. So this just makes sure that it's playing the same pitch, which is C3 throughout. And that's how the chops sound. And now let's get into what I added underneath everything, which was the samples. So I added this, which is just a string, cello. So I added two cello samples, and I also added a saxophone. and I also had a sex trill. And that's it for that. And what we also have is these 808s. And what I have is made for 808s and 808 shaper, which are Ableton plugins. And then my favorite part, which is always the drums. So let's get into that. Okay, so what I have is my favorite kick, which everyone knows by now, kick 12. And then I have some Monte hi-hats that I layered. So it's two hi-hats layered together. And as you can see, the hi-hats are not on the grid on anything, which is, what you do for like a pastel bounce sound. And then you have the claps. The claps are usually put them early, so they're like a little bit ahead of where they should be. And I have some triangles and some percussions. So that is pretty much every sound on this beat. Oh, I also had this piano solo which I played on live. And that's just Pianoteq 8. And I don't think I did much to it. Yeah, it's the default preset. I didn't do anything to it. I just leveled out the volume. Oh, what I did was I put a note echo, and then I put the time to be 1 millisecond. So the notes are actually double. So if you're looking at this, let's go to Pianoteq. So the notes come twice, but slightly like 1 millisecond ahead, which is like not really audible, but it's pretty cool to me because now you're hearing two octaves. And that's it for the video. If you guys want the sample, you can become a channel membership and you get the samples. And if you want the project file, you can become a tier 3 member and you get the project file as well. And that's it. Hope we catch you guys on the next one and hope you enjoyed this one. DJ.